Hello and welcome to the Slingshot Channel. As you may know, I am still in love with my Rambini slingshot. It's the best slingshot that I've ever designed, and it's been on the market now for a few years and it's been a fantastic seller. We sold so many of them, many thousands. I love it so much because first of all it has these clips, so it's very easy to attach all different kinds of rubber, including this monster band set with super wide, TheraBand gold bands. It's also, I love it because, the hammer grip is what I love the most. It's because you can really firmly hold it into your hand and really stretch it out hard and use very strong bands, but it has a major disadvantage. It is quite bulky. If you put this in your pocket, it actually isn't really nice. I mean, this is a great strong slingshot, but we had a lot of requests for something much more portable. And about a year ago, actually 13 months ago, I introduced the Rambini to you as a prototype, and believe it or not, it is now in production and it is ready and available. And this is it. Meet the Rambini slingshot. Let me show you its features. Interesting is that it has the same clips that we also put on the Rambini, so these are the exact same clips. It is a some paintball remainings here, sorry for that. It is a much smaller slingshot and it's ultimately pocketable. You shoot it in a different fashion though. I mean, I guess you can still shoot it in the hammer grip, but it's really designed to be shot like that in the so-called thumb and index finger support style. So that it is very small, you see. And also the handle is shaped that you can put 3 of your fingers around it like this and still hold it firmly, where your thumb and your index fingers support the frame so you can shoot. As you see, the fork width is not so much different. It's just angled in a different way. Also the fork height is about the same. It's a much smaller slingshot and of course the profile is a lot thinner too. And this makes it ultimately more portable. And of course it is the weaker slingshot. I mean, this here gives you so much purchase that you can't shoot a lot harder bands, but you don't always have to shoot super hard bands. Sometimes these are so zippy and fun that it's better to have it with you. Most beginners I really recommend to use paintballs for the first 200 shots. They're totally inexpensive and of course they can't hurt you at all, even if you have a catastrophic failure and you hit one of your fingers. That has never happened to me, but people are afraid of it and therefore using paintballs takes this away from you. So it is very easy to shoot those and you can do this like a target style with an anchor point, or you can draw it out much more far like this here. Bang! Now these small frames have one disadvantage over like a Rambini, and that is it's so small that of course the bands are much closer to your hands. And this doesn't mean that your fingers are in danger to be hit by the steel ball or whatever. But what happens is that if you shoot small steel balls, and you shoot them really hard because you want high projectile speed, then the bands will snap out wide and then hit you on the front of your fingers. A little bit like a whip hitting your fingers. And it's not a problem if you only do 10 shots, you would hardly notice it at all. But after a few hundred shots in an afternoon of practicing, you start to really feel it. And you can really even see your fingers reddening from the multiple smashes here to your fingers. And I'm going to show you the difference in high-speed recording later on. But we have developed something that prevents it and that makes it really fun to shoot with small steel balls at high speed all day long. And this is what we came up with. The hand protection shield for the Rambini. Let me show you its features. What you can do is you can simply clamp it in on the top and then a little bit with some spring here underneath. Click, and now it's in place. And now you see that your fingers are completely protected from the impact of the snapping bands. Can't happen anymore because it's solid. We tried leather and so on, but it actually makes the slap worse. Only something solid gives you protection, and this is it. And I love it that you can simply remove it for easy transportation, and there's no screws something. You simply put it on, snap it in place, and it's in there. And then you can shoot lightweight balls like this paintball as hard as you want, because nothing can ever happen. It's fairly inexpensive. The frame itself is about 25 euros. The protection shield can be bought independently for another 10 euros. And of course you can also get this with a huge selection of different bands, but you can also make your own bands, and you can even make your own slingshot if you want to. So this is it, for example, with thick, short tubes. A lot of target shooters like those because this stretches exactly enough so you can go to your anchor point. And of course these tubes will last forever. You can keep shooting for an eternity. Okay, now I'm using double layer TheraBand Gold, really white. These are about the strongest bands that I would recommend for this slingshot. And I'm shooting a big fat 16mm steel ball. I'm drawing it out to half butterfly. So this is very powerful and fun. Ha! Now 13 weeks old, and he's been with us for 3 weeks. And I love my little Rolfie. Rolfie, say hello. So let me explain again how sharpshooters aim with a slingshot. First of all, what you do is you hold it sideways, like so. Then you draw back until you reach your anchor point, and then you use the top of the upper fork arm to aim, and you turn it in a way that the upper band covers the lower band, because then you can be absolutely certain that nothing can happen. And then of course you have to compensate for the height. So let's do a few shots, like so. Now, of course, if you get better, you can also try full butterfly shooting, and that means that you stretch out really far. Like with this bands, that's about the maximum I can do. It's pretty far, and that will give you a lot more power. See, that is raw power. Now, a lot of people like shooting these smaller balls, like these 8mm steel balls, and of course they fly a lot faster. They're also harder to see in flight. It's kind of a little bit harder to learn how to hit with them, but they are of course so inexpensive that a lot of people opt for them, and they don't even use a catch box. They just fire and forget, let them rot to rust somewhere. And only the Rambini allows you, without a lot of painful hand slaps, to shoot these from a double layered band set. Just like that. See, I could really feel the impact of the bands on the front shield, but my fingers aren't red at all. That's the coolness of the shield. But of course, originally we would recommend a single band set for the small balls, even though this is a little wider one, so it has already good power. Like that. But of course, these will be more fun if you draw out as far as you can. I could feel the impact on the shield. So for shots like this, small caliber and rather strong bands and full stretch, that's where you need the shield. Okay, just for you, I will show you how that feels without the shield. Yeah, I could really feel it here on my index finger and also on my middle finger. And of course, to be very clear, this hand slap problem is a general issue on slingshots. It even happens with natural forks. Every slingshot shooter has experienced this often, I guess, and therefore it's not just due to this design. Of course, the smaller the slingshot, the bigger the problem. Now we want to do something really special. This is Bernd's very nice drone. And actually I think it's called a quadcopter, not a drone. And we want to shoot at it with a paintball, but in order to protect it, we mounted a little bit of perspex underneath, so that the drone and especially the camera is protected. And now I'm going to try to hit it from underneath with a paintball and the Rambini. Wow, this quadcopter is really a quality product. I mean, look at that, how many times I hit it. And actually, I didn't really saw it moving at all when I hit it. I mean, it looked like it was completely stable in the air. And even once hit it right underneath the rotor blade, and even that didn't shock it. The only thing is that, of course, now the side of the camera is a little bit disturbed. It's a lot of fun, actually. I think this could be a new sport, hitting your own drone with paintballs and your slingshot. Now obviously this slingshot is made out of plastics, but not just any plastics. It's actually polycarbonate. It's the same material that they use for police riot shields. So it is tough, it won't break easily, it deforms a little bit, but not too much. I think it's the ideal material for slingshots. And in order to test this, what we're now going to do is we're going to give it a good beating with a hammer on the anvil. You can beat it as much as you want. You can also make your own Rambini, and I'll actually put the outlines of it down there. Since it's not hard to do this, you can actually use this from any kind of plywood board, or even from a natural fork like the one that I made a while ago. And you see, I had such a big natural fork that I could make two of those. And see, this is the blank that is left over, and I can make another one from it. This is for my catalpa tree, which is really an exotic tree for German standards. And I like it because it has this kind of, built-in glow. It's just polished wood. So this is nothing special. Really like it. But of course, what you cannot do is you cannot do the clips at home, and also you cannot do the protection shield at home. So that's the advantage of the mass-produced one. But it still is a cute and very effective little slingshot. You may remember the Zubin review that I did a couple of weeks ago. I want to shoot it again today just because I thought that maybe I can use it in a different way. Same concept, but homemade gun. Anyway, let's do a shot first. We cock it the usual way. Okay. And now we can put the 1622 lead pellets into it. First we remove the rubber ring. Okay. And now, as you see, a lot of people ask if it would drop out of the barrel again. That won't happen because it's actually held in place with a little mechanism that also enables that I can now release the safety. So this means that you can't shoot it empty. So it's the anti-dry fire technology that also keeps the projectile in place. So it can't fall out even if you hold it like this and shake it. Whoa! Well, okay, that wasn't bad, but what if we don't use 16 of these small 22 caliber lead pellets, but maybe 6 of these 16mm steel balls? And of course we need a different weapon for that. I think I have just the right one. My homemade 300-pound crossbow with integrated winch. Let me show you its features again. As you see, it sports two 150-pound bow limbs, so I can really shoot heavy objects with it. It has a 20 millimeter caliber size barrel. It's more like a rail system. And it also has a built-in winch, because this you can no longer cock against your chest. Even I can't do it anymore. So therefore the built-in winch is very handy. And it also has a self-resetting sled here for the cocking action, powered by rubber. So let's load it. Okay. So this is the ammo. It very much is the same principle. See, I also use rubber to hold the parts together before the loading. And if you open the two halves, you see that this is really a steel tube, two halves, and I painted them bright yellow in the hope that I will find it again after the shot. And 6 of these steel balls are held in place, and there's a little notch at the end of these things here, so if you put them on top of each other, the steel balls cannot fall out. And of course, as soon as these leave the barrel, then hopefully the two halves kind of fall apart and the steel balls keep on flying. Let's see if that works. Alright, we have the monster cocked, 300 pounds pressing on it, and now we're putting in the ammunition. Careful, careful. Okay, it's in the barrel. And now it's time to shoot. Guys! Ooh, what was that? Seems like this worked. Of course, these holes are completely different in size compared to the tiny panels from the Zubin. And I actually found both halves. They're here. So those can be reused, I think. Great concept, and of course my monster is a completely different caliber, but the Zubin actually is so much fun. I can still recommend it, and actually you can even buy it in my store. Link down below. The Rambini Slingshot from 25 euros, or like 35 euros complete with the band set. I really like it because it's so portable and it has this unique hand shield, and it's overall a fun little toy. And I love shooting it. Bing! I hope you like this. Hope you like the product. Just take a look at the GoGun.de shop, link down below. That's it for today. Thanks and bye bye.